And go. Hello, everybody. This is Leonard Johnson again with this week's edition of the Run the Hammer podcast. I want to welcome all of you, and I want to thank all of you for your support and your kind words to all the coaches, and and how you are enjoying the weekly podcast and everything. Like I have always said, it's a fun thing for me. I learned so much from this and get to know some of these coaches that I met in passing, and get to spend an hour with them and get a chance to meet some old friends that I've known for years in this business. Before I bring Dean on, let me again reiterate. We sponsor this thing through my insurance agency, and if any one of you needs some help with retirement programs, post-retirement programs. Oh, that's a bad word to use, that post-retirement. but if you need some additional retirement suggestions, or you are still made it in some programs that you have and not seeing the returns you need, give me a holler. We can hook you up, as the kids say, and that's everybody. There are many great products out there that can help you achieve your goals. So that's my advertising tonight. All the information you need to get a hold of me is scrolling right at the bottom. So just give me a holler. We'll see what we can do to get you hooked up. Tonight, we got the dean, one of the deans of coaching. I've known this guy here, God, let's see, since I got back in South Carolina, it had to be over 20 years. We've had our dealings back and forth and everything. And I remember again, we played together. We played against each other. It was a knock-knock. I brought my 12 guys against his 75. And that was one fantastic game. Our kids always talked about that game and really enjoyed. But Dean on board, who has been so instrumental in South Carolina high school football, and the things that he is doing, the ideas that he's bringing to the state to get football better in our state, to keep us up to date and everything. Some fantastic thing. He's always on the edge. So I'm not going to try to tell the story. I'm going to let him tell your story, and let's see if I can again make him bigger than me, because this is his show. Make me little. There you go. There you go, Dean. Everybody can see you now. Welcome, Dean. And let me again. I appreciate you coming on the show, man, because I do a plan of coaches that I want to bring on at a specific time, and yours just fell right into the slot and everything. So I am so glad to have you on.
I'm glad to be here, and we have known each other a long time, and I like the name of your podcast, Run the Hammer, because I tell you what, you were right. We had about 75 dressed out that night, and we were lucky to come away with a win because you guys were whipping us up and down that field, running that hammer at us the whole night. So, and probably what you don't know is that we use that hammer some now, and have used it over the last few years because you taught me a valuable lesson there, and I've tried to use it since then, and we've used it some to our advantage. There's no doubt about it. Now, we never ran it as good as you guys did, but it's helped us some. So glad to be here, glad to be on, and you look like you're doing well, so that's good.
Well, just growing out of bed and getting to sit down with families every day. That's good for me. Trying to help families out. For that one person in the state, and those two people across the country, because these podcasts go live across the country. Why don't you introduce yourself to those two people and tell them who Dean Boyd is?
I'm the head football coach at York Comprehensive High School. This is my alma mater. I've been here now. We're in our fourth year. I came in. Really, this past year was the first year I've had a full off season here. We came in the middle of COVID, trying to turn the program around. It's been a long haul, but our kids are responding. Things are going the right way. I spent 22 years as the head football coach and athletic director at Marlboro County High School, and that's where we met up a couple times on the gridiron. And then I spent 3 years as the head coach at Williston and athletic director at Williston Elko High School. That was my first head coaching job. And then before that, I spent 7 years as an assistant coach under Lewis Lineberger at Hartsville High School. So I've kind of been all over the state, been in a lot of different programs. Really enjoyed coaching football. Was an athletic director for over 25 years and enjoyed that when I did that, but was glad to give it up when I came home so I could concentrate just on football. I'm a member of the South Carolina Football Coaches Association. I help run the recruiting fair in this state and try to help out a little bit with our combines. Neil Smith is our combine director, and I help him in a number of ways trying to get our national combines done. And we do those through Catapult. And, it's been a great thing getting started. We had a lot of states interested in that. And but right now we're in the middle of the season. I'm here on Sunday afternoon. I'm up at the school. Our coaches are meeting. We're trying to get ready for a big game against Indian Land this week, who is 4-1. We're 4-1, and it's our first region game, and they're a real good football team. So we're trying to get ready for that and have a good game plan against them because we know it's going to be a tough situation for us. But I'm married. I've been married for over 30 years and got two wonderful daughters, Katie, who's 31, and Susan, who's 26. And I've just recently become a grandpa. I got
Wow.
got a little boy, Graham, who was born in March, who's 6 months old. And Gracie was born in July, so she's almost 3 months old. So, just real excited about being a part of seeing that happening going on, because everybody told me it was nothing like being a grandfather, and I didn't believe them, but they told the truth. It's all it's cracked up to be.
It's a different world.
Sure is. That's a little bit
Yeah.
about me. That's who I am, and that's what I do.
Yeah. Now you mentioned your wife, and kids and everything. And how does that lady put up with you for 30 years?
That is a good question, Coach. That is a good question. She's actually at home today. One of the things that she does for our football team is that she bakes cakes for them if we win. So she's actually at home today baking cakes for them, and we'll give those out to the boys tomorrow, so they all get a piece of cake on a win. And so she's actually doing that. She's the ultimate coach's wife because she knows the time that we put in, and she's been a trooper all this time. And I couldn't have been where I am right now without her. And I've been able to get my doctorate degree, and I definitely wouldn't have been able to do that without her. So, she's just been a trooper for us. And we met in high school here in York and kind of dated off and on all through high school. And then both of us ended up at Winthrop at the same time. And, when I got to Hartsville after a year, I said, I got to get her back with me down here full time because I was kind of lost without her. And I'd have been lost without her all these years if I hadn't had her. She's been a good one.
Yeah, that is great, man. It's amazing how the education of the coaches have changed over the time. We got another doctor coming on later on tonight. That's Dr. Woolcock up there at Eastside High School, Andre. And it's just amazing how the guys are going back and getting those degrees and everything. And I think it's important because it kind of shows your kids, hey, I can do this. You can do this too. There's nothing wrong with going to school, and getting those numbers and those letters in front of your name.
Well, and that's absolutely right. I'm gonna tell you how I came about it. I went to Hartsville and I decided I was going to go ahead and get my master's. So, I started Hartsville in '87. So in '88, I started my master's at the United States Sports Academy, back when you had to go to the academy. Mm-hmm. And I had to go down there 2 summers for 6 weeks each summer. And Coach Lineberger was gracious enough to let me go and do that and miss some summer workouts and stuff for those 2 years. But I got my master's. When I completed that, I looked at it. At that time in South Carolina, you had to work 30 years before you could retire. And I said, okay, it's going to be a $12,000 increase from master's to doctorate if I get my doctorate now. And I've got over 20 years to go, to be able to get this thing. And, 20 years at $12,000, that's $240,000 that I'd have been leaving on the table. And we don't make a lot of money as it is. So I had to make sure I got every penny I could get. So that's how I actually decided to do it. It really wasn't to begin with to kind of get that higher education as much as it was to get the raise. But then I was so glad that I did it. And, it was hard. Ain't no doubt about it. It was tough. But with a lot of help and a lot of care from a lot of people, we got through it. And, it was nice to be able to have over this time.
How did you end up in Marlboro County? That's why I think I first met you or knew a bunch, because actually you were my facilitator at the United States Sports Academy, and I was so intimidated by you.
That's not true. That's not true. I knew better than that.
No, that is true. No, the education part of it, and I said I can't let this dude down, man.
I was at Hartsville, and Marlboro County actually opened up when I was at Hartsville. And when I got the job at Williston-Elko, Dr. Dinkins, our principal at Hartsville, left to be the superintendent at Williston-Elko, and their coach left. After about 2 months, him being there, the coach left to take another job. And that was Doc Davis. He left to take the Edisto job.
Okay.
So Dr. Dinkins knew I'd been looking to try to be a head coach. I'd interviewed at several places. So he called me. He said, "You want to be the head coach at Williston-Elko?" And I said, "Well, I interviewed there last year when Doc got it." And he said, "Well, Doc's leaving. If you're interested, put in your resume and all that." So I did, and ended up getting the job. So I was there 3 years. And the third year I was there, we turned that program around pretty quickly and had some success. And the third year I was there, the Marlboro County job came open. And I'd seen the athletes when I was at Hartsville. I said, that place can win. I know they can win. So it intrigued me. I put in for it in early January because the coach had been let go in December. I put in for it in early January and didn't hear anything for like 3 months. So I actually applied at Chesney High School and interviewed there twice. And I did finally interview at Marlboro County, but still didn't hear anything back. And Chesney job called me and said, "We're going to give you the job." And that's the upper part of South Carolina. So I took off to go up to Chesney to sign the contract and be introduced as the coach up there. And on my way up there, we didn't have cell phones in those days, but I did have a bag phone.
Yeah.
On the way up there, my bag phone went off. About 10 minutes out, actually. I was about 10 minutes from Chesney. The bag phone went off. So I picked it up, and it was the superintendent at Marlboro County. He said, we want to offer you the job at Marlboro County High School. And I said, "Dr. Delaney, I am 10 minutes out from signing a contract at Chesney. I appreciate it, but you guys, I haven't heard from y'all in 2.5 months. I figured you'd moved on. Chesney's been good about it." He said, "Well, I know me and the principal at Chesney, was at Spartanburg before. We're good friends. I'm going to call him, tell him to give you a day. And I want you to turn around and come straight to Marlboro County." So sure enough, he called him, and the principal called me and said, "We'll give you to tomorrow. There ain't no hurry. Ain't no big deal. Just go down there, talk to Mr. Delaney. We're good friends. If you feel that's where you need to go, you go there. If not, you come on back up here tomorrow, and we'd love to have you." So I take off, about a 2-hour trip up to Chesney from Williston, then 2 hours to go from Chesney to Marlboro, 2.5 hours. I get there. They take me in, tell me they want to give me the job. They go over everything that's going on and happened. And they had offered the job to like 4 different people, and the board couldn't agree on it and all kinds of issues. And I said, "Well, if I'm going to come here, these are the 10 things I got to have." Because I wasn't going at that point. They're not knowing what they want to know or what they want to do. I was afraid to take the job. And the superintendent sat there and agreed to every one of them. So at this point, it's about 7 o'clock. Then I'm realizing, wait a minute, I haven't talked to my wife. So
she's thinking you in Chesney.
Yeah. So I called her, and of course, she goes, "Where have you been? What's going on?" And I said,
let me remind everybody, this is post cell phone time.
That's right. So I said, "I'm in Marlboro County." And she said, "What are you doing there?" And I had to tell her the story. And make a long story short, I told her I thought I was going to take the job at Marlboro. She wasn't real happy because Chesney was 50 minutes from Marlboro's 2 hours. So she was wanting to get back towards her mom and back home, but she trusted me. We took the job there. I was there 2 months, and they fired the superintendent. So the 10 things I asked for, I got 2. But we won 4 games that first year. They'd won 3 years in a row. We won 4 games that first year, and because that was the old point system, we made the playoffs, and took them up to Easley. Played a real good Easley team, got beat, but gave them that experience. And we got back to Marlboro. We went to work, and the next year we went 15-0, won a state championship, and it kind of all fell into place and went on from there. And 20 years later, I'm still there, thinking I wasn't going to be there that long, but 20 years later, I'm still there, and we got over 200 wins. We've won 12 region titles and another state championship, and played for the lower state 7 or 8 times. And just a great place to grow up. My kids grew up there, and a great place for football, and the community supported us completely, and it was just a great time. So it was a great story to tell, because I mean, I was 10 minutes later and I'd have been at Chesney. I'd have been an Eagle.
That's a great story. I didn't realize all that went on with you and everything. What makes you so wanted without interviews?
I don't really. I think that's just trying to build relationships and trust, and being honest, and what your plan is for kids. That's what it's all about. I came to York. I was that's 4 years ago, so I was 53. And, you think York taking a chance on a guy that's already got enough time in, he could retire, that, maybe not take a guy like that, take a younger guy. But I think we have a good plan to help kids. And my goal is to win a state championship wherever I am. But my major. Yeah, I'm sorry. Somebody got to talk in. But just to try to build better young men and productive young men for our community, and building relationships. And I think that makes a connection with people, because we need more of that in our society. I used to tell people during COVID, especially when we had all that free time and downtime, hey, look, if the, that's when we had a lot of social unrest and stuff going on throughout our country, a major part of it. I used to tell people all the time, if everybody had a locker room mentality, especially a football locker room mentality, this world would be a much better place, because nobody in the football locker room or on the football field sees black or white or green or purple. They see doing right and winning and doing the right thing and what you're supposed to do. You see guys that typically out in the community, you may never out in the community, you may never get to see, but you see them a lot together in the locker room doing what they're supposed to do.
You are so right in that.
There we go.
Okay, you got it?
Yeah, I got it. So I think that's the biggest thing. I think the biggest thing is just relationships and people knowing that whatever we do is going to be for the kids and try to make them better people.
All through these years. And how long you been coaching? 30 plus?
30. This is 37.
Oh, okay. And all these years and everything, you've had great people to work with you, staff and everything. Starting with the staff going back, how's the staff gelling? I mean, after 4 years, did you bring anybody with you, or you had to get a complete staff together?
No, a lot of these guys were here. Some of them, I did bring some, because I think that's key for any young coach. If there's any young coaches out here listening to this and you going out to get your first head coaching job, I think it's real important that you be able to have some people that you can take with you, that you can trust, that you can trust, because you still don't know the people when you get there. You can interview them like I have and many other coaches have, but you really don't know them until you're around them every day. So I think you got to take some with you, and I've been able to do that. I got some guys on our staff now from Marlboro. I had a couple of others from Marlboro. They've gone on to get head coaching jobs and that sort of thing. So I think it's important that you have some people with you, but I think just building those relationships, knowing what your goals are. The staff I've got here has done an outstanding job this year. We're 4-1 right now. We lost a tough game to our arch rival in Clover. They're a 5A school. We're a 4A school, and we had our opportunities to win, but they were able to clip us and get us. But we've been able to play and hang in there, and I think it has a lot to do with it that our staff knows what they're doing. They care about kids, and they work hard to accomplish the goals that we've set out to do for our program.
Now, you took over for Steve, right, down there at York?
No, actually, I took over for Bobby Carroll. Steve had
Bobby,
been
yeah.
the athletic director and the head football coach here, and then he retired from the football coaching job, and he retired from his athletic director job about 7 years ago. If he hadn't been here all that time, I'd have probably tried to get here a little sooner, but I wasn't coming up here and let my brother be my boss. That can't work.
Who's your brother?
Steve.
Steve is, duh.
Yeah. Steve and JR.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I knew JR. How's Aunt JR doing?
He's doing great. He's watching grandkids now and being around them and helping raise grandkids, and that's what Steve's both of them are doing that and having a ball at it. They're both in good health. They both come to the games a lot, still tell me what I'm doing wrong, what I need to do better.
Yeah,
but it's fun having them. I like them out here.
Yeah, tell JR I say hello. I think I may know your brother. Was he the head coach at York before?
Yep.
In the mid '70s.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. When I was at C.A. Johnson, we played
That's
them
right.
in the player. We played them
That's
in the
right.
playoff game. Yeah, okay. All right, so in passing, if he comes slap me today, I won't remember. But the name, I remember the name and everything. How the kids coming to your way of thinking?
Did you ask how the kids are?
Yeah, how are the kids coming on to your philosophy, your way of thinking?
Well, when I was at Marlboro, we had something called Win Today, and it's not something that a lot of programs use. But when I got up here, Northwestern, who's real close to us and in our region now, uses that as their program, character building program. So we adopted the York way, and we spend a lot of time doing that, especially in the off season. We have all our kids in weightlifting classes, football weightlifting classes. So I have 3 football classes in the spring. I have 1 in the fall, and those 3 football classes, we spend 20 minutes a day just working on character building and doing the character education stuff. We have 12 pillars that we talk about. We go through all that, and then I give them prime examples of that. We have daily activities with it, and we do a lot of community service. We do some fun activities together, and try to do a lot of different stuff that involves the community. And we eat on Thursdays. Every Thursday we eat, and we have a church bring food in and do a devotion for us. Every Friday morning we have our team FCA chapel. We open doors for the elementary school kids. We read to the elementary school kids. Every Friday, our players sponsor a teacher that gets to wear their jersey for that day. So we do a lot. We've got our own litter pickup highway that's sponsored by the football team, and so we do a lot of stuff with the community, and them seeing the passion that I have for that and the passion that we have for each other. I think one thing I've never had a problem with is having kids try to run through the wall for me and play for me. We may mess up sometimes on the X's and O's, and we may do some things wrong, but they'll run through the wall for us. And I think one of the reasons they'll do that is because we spend so much time in relationship building. I think big.
And those, I'm sure your parents appreciate that because you're doing something other than worrying about them by the X's and O's. Can you hear me? Okay.
There's no doubt about it. The parents,
yeah,
the parents, they are 100% behind us because we got a lot of our kids that don't have 2 parents or come out of single parent homes. We've got some that don't have a parent. They live with a guardian, or we've even had a couple homeless kids, McKinney-Vento kids, and we've had kids that were in the system and had to get out of the system and stay in the foster system. So we've had a lot of bad situations with kids, but we've been able to reach them. But I know it's grown men. It's hard to say I love you. It's hard to say that, but you got to say it to your kids. They got to know that it's okay to hear that, and because a lot of them never hear it as growing up. And I think our parents appreciate that. I think they understand what we're trying to do with them, and and we talk about all this stuff. We have several parent meetings throughout the year, and we communicate what our goals are, what our character goals are, and what we're trying to do, and why we're trying to do it. And I think one of the things in doing all that, that's helped alleviate some problems that you might could have from parents at times about playing time and that sort of thing, because we're still going to win. We're still going to put the best 11 on the field at all times. If you want to be one of the best 11, then you've got to earn it. You've got to work for it. If you don't work for it, you don't earn it, you're not going to be out there no matter who you are, what color you are. It doesn't matter. You're going to have to earn and do what you got to do to get there. And sometimes parents don't see it that way. They think their Johnny is the best and that sort of thing. And I invite them, hey, come to practice, watch practice. See what little Johnny's doing, what everybody else is doing. And if you feel that way, then I need to either talk to you and teach you some football, or you are going to see it the way it's supposed to be. If he wants to change and get on the field, he's got to do the things it takes to get on the field. So, I think it helps us with that. We don't have near as many of the off the field issues with playing time and that because
most of the time, guys who change positions, go to another school, they normally have to go into a situation where they have to get to know the community, and the community got to go know them. Now, you said this is home for you, right?
I think, yeah. I mean, that's a big key, because when I got back up here, when Marlboro County coach, you've been there, there ain't nothing around. So when those kids were disgruntled or not happy about their playing time, there wasn't a whole lot they could do but work harder to try to get on the field, because they couldn't get to anywhere else, without having to make a big move or a big change. But here in the area I'm in now, there's schools everywhere around us. When I got here, we had 12 kids transfer out before I even took the job.
Wow.
And yeah, it's just like a free-for-all in this area. They come in, when a coach is not there, or a school changes coaches, you better guard your players, because they're coming after you. So one of the things I did right away was I told everybody in the community, I told the newspaper, I told the local radio stations, and we're putting the net over York. We're putting the net over York. We're not going to let our kids out of here. We're going to try to do everything we can in our power to keep them here. Now, we've still lost a couple, but we hadn't lost many. We lost one to Gray this year, and that hurt us. But we hadn't lost many. And I'm not, and I think teaching them about home, teaching them that this is home, and taking a lot of pride into it makes a big impression. The other thing I did too, to be quite honest with you, was we had Victor Floyd runs our Tri-County Touchdown Club, and does a great job with it. And the first meeting we had, I just kind of stood up in the meeting and told them, said, look, guys, you come into York and you try to recruit our kids, and I find out you had anything to do with it, I'm going to turn you into the league. I'm going to be the behind, I know. But you're not just going to come in and recruit our kids, or let somebody from your program recruit our kids and me not say anything about it, And I think that unfortunately, that's the one thing that I see over the last 30 years, 37 years, that's been a big change, is the trend. The colleges have what they call a transfer portal. Well, hell, in South Carolina, we've had that the last 10 years in high school. I mean, and it's a shame, because, if you're, everybody says, why is attendance going down in high school football? Well, part of that reason is because, somebody watches little Johnny or little Ty play all the way from Little League up. He gets to high school, they're at the house that Friday afternoon. He tells his wife, he says, you know what, Linda, let's go down to the game and watch little Ty play tonight. I've been watching. Let's go watch him play. And then Linda says, well, you didn't read the paper. Ty moved to another school close by. Well, I don't really want to go now then. I mean, I was going to go support him, so I'm not going to go. So, I mean, along with other things that's going on, but I think, loyalty and pride and all those types of things are so important. And unfortunately, I think when I do call it or hang my whistle up and call it in, I think that's probably going to be the quickest thing that takes me out of the of coaching in anything, because it's hard to teach a kid about discipline and doing the right things and doing it the right way, and you hold them accountable for that when others will take them and play them and don't care what they do, and they know it. It's hard to do that, but I think you're doing a disservice to the kids, you're doing a disservice to your community, and you're doing a disservice to the country. If win at all costs means that you're going to let a young man determine anything that you're doing, him determine he's going to do it his way, and he's running the team, then you're hurting all parties involved, because we've got to hold kids accountable. We've got to make them walk the straight and narrow, because they're going to be leading our country. And I don't want a guy leading my country or leading our country that ain't tough, that hadn't played high school football, that know what it's like to be a tough and getting hit in the gut or getting a gut punch from time to time, being on the ground. How you got to get up and react to that. I think all those things are important. I think football does that for us, as long as we don't take that away from them by win at all costs.
I can never understand how a coach will actively go and recruit. I never did. I never did that one day in my life, and even if we by chance get a kid coming from another school to play football for our school, the first thing I did is pick up the telephone and talk to the coach about that kid. All right, why is he moving? What's going on? Tell me what's going on. No, to alert the other coach that, hey, number one, I had nothing to do with it. Number two, to alert him that his kid is transferring and everything, and just be above board on everything. And I see that missing a lot in our profession these days. That common courtesy, that I'm looking for another word, professionalism. That's the word I'm looking for when it comes to recruiting and everything. And a lot of time, the guys that you recruit don't end up being worth a snot anyway. It just crazy.
I agree with you, Coach. In the years I've coached, I've had one transfer that was a very good player. And it was a kid, and his name was Tabari Hines, and he was a great player. And I understood why he transferred, why he moved, and what the situation was. But the first call I made was to that head coach, who was David Prince at South Florence, and said, "Look, was Tabari at practice this morning?" And he said, "No, he was working." I said, "No, he wasn't. He was over here, and they're moving to Marlboro. And I wanted to let you know above board and ahead of time that he was here." And because do it, he had some situations, had some issues, not at the high school, but in his life. His mom did too, and they moved to Marlboro to be with family. And he ended up being a great player. Most of the time, the guy get transferred in, they're the same size as I am. You know what size I am. The other people don't.
Yeah.
But that ain't too good for football.
Well, you project larger than you are than you really are right now. That community you got, I was only able to play down there one time. That's back in the mid '70s, but they were rabid Dan. How is it now? Is it still the same way?
It's getting better. It wasn't quite the same as I remembered it when I also remember that, the biggest thing is football has not had great crowds over the last 4, 5, 6 years. Mm-hmm. The good thing I can say is that, we've had 2 games here. We had one just recently where we had about a $40,000 gate, a little over $40,000. That means they're coming back, and that's good to see. When I got here, we had 82 players in the program that first year, and we field 3 teams now. So I didn't have many kids at all. Now we've got 120 kids in the program, so that's come up. And at the middle school, we had 25 and 20 that first year, and this year I've got 50 and 55. So, because we have the good thing about up here in this area, there's so many schools that we have a 7th grade league, an 8th grade league, a 9th grade league, a 10th grade league, and then, of course, the varsity league. And that helps develop a lot of talent. It gives a lot of kids a chance to play. So we've got our numbers right now are really getting better. One of the things I attribute to that, of course, is coming out of COVID. But another thing is that when I first got here 4 years ago, I saw the number situation as a problem. So we started NFL flag program in May. We call it Friday Night Lights, flag football, Friday Night Lights, flag football. And we invite any kid from the age of 5 to 14 to come out every Friday night in May. And while we're doing spring ball, come out in May and be a part of a 2-hour practice session. And we'll practice an hour. And after that hour's up, then we'll go play games. And we've averaged between 125 and 150 kids every Friday night for the last 3.5 years. So we feel like that's made a big impact on our middle school numbers, our ninth grade numbers. We got more kids are enjoying football and coming out.
I never heard of that concept. Like I said, I learn something new every day, every Sunday night. I sit in this seat. Yeah, for all you younger coaches listening to this, that instead of complaining about your numbers, just start doing things out of the box. That's how you get them.
That's what we had to do, Coach. We had to do it out of the box. Mm-hmm. And the good thing is that the NFL sponsors it. So we get all our kids. They get they pay $25, but they get a Carolina Panther jersey that's blue on one side, black on the other. They get their flags, and they get to keep all that. Mm-hmm. And it, of course, has the insurance included in it. And they just have a great time with it, and our coaches have a good time with it. And I think it's really helped us. The other thing that we did, Coach, I think it's a little bit outside the box, is we have a football field day for our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, where we take a day in May and take a Friday. We get it approved by the district. And those kids, we have them all day long. We out there doing instruction with them. We're doing a mini combine with them. And then we let them play flag football tournament at the end, a 7-on-7 tournament. We have a big boy tournament and a regular tournament. So we had almost 210 kids in the 6th, 7th, 8th grade out there, along with our kids helping us, because we got them out to help us that day. And anything that we can do to promote high school football, promote Cougar football, we've got to do. And I think it's made a difference. I mean, kids are coming back out, they're playing the game. The parents see the flag stuff. They see that the instruction that their kids are getting, we're promoting being safe and doing things the right way. Because we bring, on those Friday Night Lights, Coach, on Fridays, we bring the icy truck out and the food trucks out. And, man, we make a big deal out of it and let them get on that turf field with the lights on and play music while they're playing. And those kids just love it. They have a great time with it. And I really believe that's helped our numbers, and it continues to help us grow. And we need that, because we're in a tough region. We have to play a bunch of tough people, and it's not easy. We got to have numbers. Right now, we've got a good many kids hurt, and, we're dressing 45 on the varsity and 40 on the JV team and 45 on the 9th grade team. So we're having to bring some of the JV kids up, because we've got about 9 or 10 hurt on the varsity just to keep those numbers up to 45. So we need those numbers. I would like to get at least 135, 140 kids out for the 3 teams at the high school. Right now we're sitting at 120, but I do think the number's going up, and I think that's going to help us in the long run.
Well, ding, young coaches, listen. You think outside the box to build your program. I mean, we always sit around and complain about basketball taking the kids away and everything, which is legitimate. But think of some of the things that you can do to get your piece of the pie in there too. Not to guarantee those guys are gonna come with you, but you got to do something outside the box. You just simply can't wait on them. Give you a little bit, Chan, because you're involved with so many things. The most important thing coming up right now is the recruiting fair. Give you a little chance to talk about the origin, why you did it, and how's it going.
Well, I was speaking, Coach, at a glazier clinic in Atlanta, probably 15, 16 years ago. I guess it was this coming year will be the 12th year we've had it here. So I think it was 17 years ago. And after I finished speaking, a buddy of mine from the Georgia area, coaches in the Georgia area, he said, "Hey, what are you doing the rest of the afternoon?" I said, "Well, I'm done speaking. I might catch a couple speakers." He said, "I got something else I want to show you that I think you'd be interested in." I said, "All right." So, and I was not on the board at that time. I had been on the board, but had taken a break from being on the Coaches Association board. So I said, "Okay, where are we going?" He said, "We're going downtown Atlanta." We went to a place, and there was 25 high schools there. But there must have been 250 college coaches there. And I said, "What is this?" And he said, "This is what we call a recruiting fair. They all come in, and we have our video ready, and we have a resume for each kid. And they go around to our table and see everything that we got on our kids, and they recruit our kids." So I came back to South Carolina, and I talked to Coach Mike Ware, who was the head of the Football Coaches Association. And he said, "Well, do you want to run for the board again?" I said, "Well, not really, but I'll do this for you if you want me to, but I need some help." Well, kind of fell through year after year, after a couple of years there. Finally, I said, "Well, Coach, I'm going to do it. Y'all can be a part of it, or I can just do it by myself. It doesn't matter." He said, "No, we want to do it." So we just kind of started it. And that first year, I think we had 40 high schools attend and only about 10 college coaches. Now, this last year, we had 128 high school coaches there, and we had right at 60 college coaches there after about 12 years of this thing. So, and I know a number of kids and a number of coaches who text me and call me every year and say, "Hey, I'm glad you had that. My kid wouldn't have got a scholarship. He got a scholarship to play." And the way I look at it, if it's just one kid, just one that gets one, because it doesn't cost us really a whole lot to put it on. We have to rent the room, and we get sponsors for that. And we don't charge the high schools anything. We charge the colleges like $10, and that's all we charge them. It might be 25 now, but that's all we charge them. They can bring as many from their staff as they want for $25, and they get to walk. Last year, 120 tables. They got to walk through and pick up resumes and videos and get to know the high school coach there. And it just keeps growing. And it's just another way to help our young people. And we do it now in conjunction with our All-Star game, that week of the All-Star game. And that's when we started the combines to go along with it. And we just feel like it's a way to help our kids be able to get just another avenue to highlight the South Carolina kids who we feel like are very good football players and need to be highlighted.
I know I won't get a chance to ask you this off the line, but could you send me sponsorship information and
I sure will.
And send me how to get a booth or what you
Sure
charge and everything. Yeah, because
yes,
I still want to stay active and everything, with it and everything, because it's such a good thing that you guys are doing as far as getting kids in school, and that's the biggest thing, getting kids in school, and again, thinking outside the box, because they're sure not coming. The college guy said last week, it's tough getting kids in college right now because of the what's that thing they got now, the portal.
That transfer portal.
Yeah, that transfer portal is killing everything, and the more help you can get there. But I'll text you my address and stuff, and you can send that from me, and I'll gladly.
I sure will. It's a big thing. It's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. It is. Yeah, I know it is. Yeah, I know. I witnessed it and everything, and going to be there, but I'm trying to see. I was going to call you anyway, but to see if we can do a show there. A couple of shows there. Talking to the coaches and everything, because this is always
that'd be really good, Coach. That'd be really good. And a lot of people would like to see that and just see what we're doing, because a number of states don't do all that. But for me, I tell all our coaches, because we got 200 schools in this state. We had 120 schools there, and I tell those 80 that were not there. I'm honest with them. When your parents come to you and ask you what you're doing to help those kids get into college and give them an opportunity, or just a shot at being an opportunity at maybe getting a scholarship, if you're not attending something that's free, that is absolutely free, that all you got to do is sit at a table for 2 hours one day and 2 hours the next day and hand out videos and resumes on your players, then how is your principal or your AD going to be able to say, yes,
No.
my coach is doing everything he can?
Yeah.
I mean, it's ludicrous, to be honest with you. I know that going to the beach is a long ride, and a lot of them can't maybe do that. But to me, it's well worth the investment to do that, because now I can show my parents exactly what I do. I take pictures of us down there, and college coaches at our booth and that sort of thing, and I post them all on our social media and everything that we do, so our parents can actually see, hey, he puts his money where his mouth is. He's making sure that our kids at least get exposed to these college coaches.
Well, like I say, it's a fantastic thing, and again, the other thing that you're doing is with the combines, and just getting kids a realistic way of knowing where they are. Because we got little Johnny, 5'6", weighs 675 pounds, and he runs a 4.5 40. Something wrong with that. So we kind of put everything in check and everything for these kids to see what kids need to go and work on.
Last year, Coach, was our first year doing the combines, but we've been talking about doing it for 5 or 6 years, sort of like we did with the recruiting fair, and nobody really wanted to step up. And I have my hands full with the recruiting fair, but the North-South game, Scott Early last year decided to put on the Joanne Langford combine for all the rising juniors, or which would be rising seniors this year, that just to do a combine for them and make that part of the game, which was a great idea. And he had a young coach named Neil Smith who has done an outstanding job. So I went to the board and I said, all right, look, we've been talking about doing these combines. Neil Smith just put this one on for the North-South game, our all-star game. I said, let's hire Neil. He can put on 3 combines across the state, upper state, Midlands, and low state. And we do it in conjunction with 2 weekends. And you take 400 athletes at each one of them. That way we'll get 1,200 athletes to go through over the 3 weekend period. And I think we had a little over 1,100. We didn't quite have 1,200, but we had a little over 1,100 go through. We had 6 states here watching us put the thing on. But what made us different than everybody else is that we put GPS systems on every athlete. We filmed every drill and test. We filmed the height and weight. We filmed the 40 time. We filmed the vertical jump. We filmed everything that they did. The pro shuttle. We filmed the one-on-ones. And every coach got the film of their player to send out, their 8, 10, or 12 clips per player that they could send out as a part of their highlights, their football highlights, along with verified scouting information, verified by Catapult, get all the measurements. So, because you can go to combines and get all these measurements, but they're not verifiable.
Mm-hmm.
What the college coaches want, they want it verified. So now those college coaches who couldn't be there, but now they can, the bigger size schools, the smaller schools could be there, but now they get verified information with film to prove it. Like you said, to kind of negate that 5'5", 137-pound guy. Now you got verified information that they can see and go with, and it's all filmed as well. And we, everybody's going away from the 40 times and they're going to miles per hour. Most people are now. The reason we were able to get catapults because here at York, since I've been here 4 years, we have used GPS systems. I won a grant with USA Football, and I started with just 10. And I got my strength coach real excited about it, and now he's become a guru at it. Now we've got every kid at the high school level the GPS system every day in practice, and every day. And it is unbelievable. He texted me this morning and said, okay, we won big the other night. And he said, you're gonna need to do extra this week. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we played Clover and we got beat. He said, you better back off. He said, they played extremely hard. The intensity was high. If you run them too much or you have a situation, you might have a hamstring pull or something of that nature. And he's been pretty much dead on it. So the GPS systems make a big difference. And Catapult agreed to help us with that. We use 2 companies. We use Catapult, and we use Titan here at York. But it's been a great deal for us and a great situation. And all this has happened through doing these combines and doing the recruiting fairs and whatnot. And you better be verified on your athletes now with the transfer portal, because they're not going to take a chance on a kid that you tell them 6'4", and they get him in 6'1", and they say, ain't no way I'm going to take him. You better have the verified information. These combines do that, which makes it even better.
Well, the only thing I can say to the coaches out there now is that, you got all this technology. You don't even have to figure it out. Just plug into the system, as I always say. Plug your kids into the system, and you'll be all right. But you really are doing your kids a disservice by not using technology to enhance their chances of furthering their collegiate career. And they need to hit you up to get the information. Or they need to.
That's the thing. That's the thing, Coach. You just said it. You don't have to be old dogs like us. You got some assistant guys that are into this stuff, and they grew up with it. Whenever I have an issue with my phone or my computer or whatever, I just go to my young coaches, or sometimes I go to my players.
Yeah.
Say, hey, show me what to do here, and they can tell me what to do. Now, if they want to know how to do a double team block, they better ask me. But if I need something on that phone or technology, they can do it. And it's like, Coach, I got a good story on you. I remember going to camp one year, and you were at camp. All right. And we sat down there, and I watched you go on steps with those linemen that you had. And y'all did steps. It's the first time I ever seen this. Y'all were in individual for 2 hours, and you did nothing but steps. And our guys got over there, and they were upset. They said, Coach, they ain't moving. They're taking 2 steps, 3 steps, 1 step. That's all they're doing. So we want to scrimmage them. I said, well, I'll see what we can do. We got to scrimmage with y'all, and you guys did 1 step, 2 step, 3 step. But you did it with that 340, 300, and 350 pound guy. And our kids, after about 6 places, Coach, can we go home? We were out there doing all that running and hitting and carrying on, and you ran them steps, and you wore us out, boy. I tell you what. The other story I got on you, we played y'all up there that night, and we ended up winning because y'all fumbled. That's the only reason we won. We won the game, and I'll never forget, we were shaking hands. And you had a kid, he had to be 380. He was 6'6", 6'7". He's a big old tackle, big old kid, a guard, I can't remember. But he was huge. And our guys were cooking. Our booster club was cooking down in the end zone down there. Mm-hmm. And right in the middle of me shaking his hand, he stops. And he goes, I smell chicken. I said, young man, we're going to go get some chicken. He was a player for you, though, but some great kids, I'm telling you.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun with those kids. And I always boast, you don't have to do a lot, but just get your kids to believe in one thing and execute. That's all it is. That's all this thing is, about. Well, Dean, my man, we've come to the end. Boy, I wish I could keep you on for another hour, but I know you got things to do and everything. But before we go, we got actually these 2 questions right here. If you had an hour to spend with someone in football and outside football, that's 2 people, dead or alive, who would those people be and why?
I think in football, dead or alive, I'd like to spend some time with Vince Lombardi. I think I'd like to spend time with him.
Wow.
And I think just because he was a hard-nosed go-getter, I would like to ask him questions that he got men to play for him, and he was a general. He was tough, but he got men to play for him and love him. And I'd like to ask him, just how did he do that, and how and what did he do? I think I know, but I'd like to ask him that anyway. Outside of football, I'd probably like to spend some time dead with my mom again, just because she's the one that taught me so much about hard work and never giving up and pushing forward. And I would like just to see her and talk to her and see what she thought of what we've done or what I've tried to instill in my program over the last 30 years, if she would approve of that. And I think those are two. There's a lot of people like that would be influential, and I'd like to see.
Out of all the guys we've had on, Vince Lombardi is you the only one who has named Vince Lombardi, who's also my hero. I hated the man when he was. I hated him when he was living because they in Baltimore Colts were always bang up, and I was a Colts fan. But as the more I read about him, God, man, I found a little bit of him inside of me. You know, the way I approach the game and everything. So we on the same page there. Well,
Yeah.
we've come to an hour, and gosh, man, I really appreciate you. You know, you don't know what you did for me coming on the program, man, and I really feel honored. And
Well, thank you for having me. And as always, it's fun to sit down and talk with you. We've been good friends for a long time, and I pick up so much from you all the time when we sit down and talk and meet. And it's just you're a pleasure to be around, and especially a pleasure to talk football about, because I know you've seen it. You've been around. You've been so successful everywhere, and I like to pick your brain every chance I get. So I enjoy it. Thank you.
okay, Dean. Well, you can get back to getting ready for this. What's that? This will be your first region game this week.
You got Indian land.
Have fun. Enjoy it, man. Always have fun at the game, no matter how it comes out. All right, Dean.
All right, man.
Have a good one, man. And
Thank
guys,
you, buddy.
thank you. Thank you very much. The honor's all mine. All right, guys. That's Dean Boyd, York High School. Young coaches, give him a hand. The game has changed so much. Don't let it get by you, because there's some things other than X's and O's you can do to get your kids ready for their continued success in football, or to make them better. Okay, so this is the end of this session right here. We got two more coming.